I always say this, if you worked with 5 or 6 marketing companies and they all stink, it's probably a broken operation system that somebody just hasn't been able to articulate to you yet. So if you want to be able to convert at 80% plus and grow, you have to fix your phone. Welcome back to another episode of My Dental Playbook. I'm your co-host, Gary Bird. Along with my friend, Dr. Blake Hamblin, we're bringing hard-hitting episodes. And today we're going to be talking about how he got over 100 new patients, how he merged his practice with another and did it successfully, and the power of conversion rates. At the end of the show, we're going to be sharing a resource on how you can train your team, an actual video and scripts and a test at the end to make sure your team understands it. This is extremely powerful to be able to reach your new patient goals. Most offices don't realize this, but if you just do that one thing, you'll get more new patients right away without even changing your marketing. There's also a link down below if you want to access it right away. Stay tuned. All right, we are live, and today's episode, you're going to like this one because we're talking about some things that have been working well. The last episode, we kind of talked about things that weren't working well. Today, we're going to talk about things that are working well and a couple milestones. Number one, you're going to cross the 100 new patient mark for the first time in your practice history, which is pretty cool because just last year, you were at like 20. And so that's awesome. And then also the month before, you had closing in on $500,000 of production, which is amazing. That makes you like a super GP office, which sounds pretty cool, right? And then also you just did a merger with another practice. So it sounds like you don't have enough on your plate.
Yeah, I find a way to keep myself busy. That's a given. My team knows that. My wife knows that. It's not a good thing.
I'm the same way. There's never, my wife is like, why did you just take all this new stuff on again? Right when everything was just getting calm. It's because I'm crazy.
I really like pain.
Yes, exactly. All right. So let's start at the 100 new patients. Now, for most people that are going to be listening to this, and I just know this from experience, they're like, that's too far out of reach. Like, I don't even want to hear about 100 new patients. So let's break this into bite sizes. Like you were at 20. Now you're at 100 and you're going to hit 101 new patients this month. Like, talk a little bit about that journey and kind of piecing that together because it wasn't just a hop and a skip.
No, for sure. I actually was looking, I use practice by numbers for all of our stuff internally. And they have a feature where you can compare, month over month or month to last year. And I think this was the first month I started working with you guys because we had 50 new patients last month, which I think was kind of not last month, last year. And so I was like, man, Gary's got his hands full because next year he's going to have to get to 200 new patients. But no, yeah. So we started with a smaller budget. I think I shared previously that I was just kind of burnt out with marketing companies and gave you guys a chance. And we started with what I would consider a very reasonable, but in perspective, small marketing budget and got great results with it. And so we went to 50 and then we kind of bounced around at 50, 60.
We had to dial some things in, right? It was like the ROI is not working or the cost per lead is too high or our phone conversion. There was a lot of different things that didn't work.
Yeah. And this is a little off tangent, but I've talked with a lot of people that use you or use other companies for marketing. And I just tell them the best thing you can do is you have to be the owner of your marketing. Like yes, Gary knows how to fill the chair, but it's like, I know my market. And I was relentless. Like today I talked with my guy, Dane, he's part of your team. And we talked yesterday and then I texted him today. I was just like, hey man, I'm seeing this. What do you think? But and so I'm constantly reaching out, which can be good and bad.
No, it's good. It's good. So the one common thread that I've seen with successful offices that keep growing is the dentist, the owner is actually involved with the marketing. The people that I see, and I have people that hate my guts and they leave a bad review, just like you have patients that do this, right? Like, and the number one trend that I've seen, I've tracked it over the last couple of years, is that the doctor isn't on the meetings. It's always, I'm going to put Susan from the front desk on all the marketing meetings. And guess what happens? Susan's just like, okay. And she's passing information back and forth, but it's not, no one can make a decision. And marketing, especially for dental, there's so many operational changes that you have to make. And if the person on the call doesn't have the power in the company to make those operational changes, you just kind of end up stuck.
Yeah, you nailed it. And that's exactly where I was going is you've got to be in control of it, and you've got to be open and honest, and just it has to be a true relationship, not just a you're my marketing guy and I'm going to do what I do. Yeah, and so all that being said, we started small, grew into it, bounced around a little bit around, we'll call it 40 to 60, and then increased the budget, started bouncing around 70 to 80. Now we're kind of honed in on where like a solid budget is, and now we're working on different things like internal marketing and different stuff that we can really hone in on to get us to 100 plus 150, 200 new patients would be wonderful one day.
Yes. And I want to get there sooner rather than later. And one of the things, well, let me say this too. You have great conversion. So I've never met anybody who's successful with growth without great conversion. And your ROI and your conversion are directly correlated. And a lot of people don't realize that. They go, no, the ROI is the marketing company's job, or whoever, somebody else, but it's a team effort. ROI is a team effort because it's the doctor, the treatment coordinator, the front desk, the marketing person, every Google review, all of that plays into ROI. And so you've been at 80+% this month, which is awesome. So that's why you have a great month marketing wise. If you would have been at 50%, which is industry average, you would have saw maybe only 70 new patients.
Yeah, and that's been the biggest key that I've learned, frankly, from you, is that like there's only so much that you guys can do. Like you guys can send me the million patients, but if I can't convert them, then it really doesn't matter. And so there's so many details that go into what makes your marketing strategy successful. And a lot of it comes down to the team and the doctor, and that extreme ownership Jocko mentality has to be there, or else you're just going to be on this like merry-go-round of I tried this company and they're awful, and I tried this company and they're awful, and it's like, no, you're the problem.
Yeah, if you have I always say this, if you worked with 5 or 6 marketing companies and they all stink, it's probably a broken operation system that somebody just hasn't been able to articulate to you yet. So if you want to be able to convert at 80% plus and grow, you have to fix your phones. And so you can go to my Dental Playbook, and we actually have the exact phone training that Dr. Blake uses for his team. Now you have to still hold your team accountable. It's not a magic pill, right? Like your team's going to listen to it, and then you have to say, you have to follow it. And if you do those two things, you will convert and you will get more new patients without maybe not even without spending more money. You might already be getting the opportunities. You're just not converting them. But once you get those patients in, then they turn into treatment. So last month you had a monster production month. And so I know it was like your base, which I think is somewhere like, correct me if I'm wrong, around 350 is your base. And then
I think it's right around like 325.
325. So that's like your base. But then you added some cream on the top with a couple big cases that put you in a whole nother stratosphere.
Yeah. So we were able to convert some patients that, frankly, the guy that I bought the practice from, he used to say they're green tomatoes. And so we had been cultivating and having these discussions. I did an FMR on a guy that we've been talking about this since COVID. So a long, long time. And he finally walked through the door for his hygiene visit and said, I'm ready to do that. And I was like, sweet, let's do it. So we did 2 full mouth rehab cases, and then we had a double arch implant case as well. And so anytime you can do that, that always adds and pads to the production. What you don't want is to do that and add to the stress. And so that can be certainly part of it, because when you sit there and you do everyday dentistry, you do the single crowns, you do the extractions, you do the partials, you do the dentures, that's all just easy stuff because you do it so much. Whereas if your office isn't built for doing these big cases and then all of a sudden you got 3, it's like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do?
It's a balancing act, right? It's a balancing act. And we had a long conversation about that, because it was like, do we start marketing for this? And there's a trap that I've seen dentists fall into where the owner doctor says, well, I love this treatment, so I want to make my practice this. And then so they start marketing and they spend like on this, if you're spending 20, 30,000 on GP, like that's nothing for some of these bigger marketing campaigns that for full arch and things like that. And so that's like a drop in the bucket. And so you can start marketing for that, but then you kind of have to change the image of your practice. And I've seen people lose their bread and butter dentistry. And then, so they're doing more of the treatment that they love doing, but the practice is shrinking.
And I think a lot of it, Gary, it comes down to what we've talked about is like having really radical clarity and vision. And so what I would love for my day to be nothing but doing full mouth rehabs. Like I love it. It's like my happy place. I could prep teeth and put temps on and take temps off and put veneers and do all the stuff. Like that's where I'm happy. But I think what people don't understand is like, if you don't want to lose the bread and butter, you've just got to replace yourself. And so as much as, and because I went on this journey and at one point I was using you guys and another marketing company for like the full arch and the all that stuff. And so, and then I was like, I'm lost. I don't know where I'm going. And I was like, look, here's the deal. I've got to grow the practice so that I can then give my job to someone else who's very capable of doing my job as a clinical dentist. And then if I want, if I want to then create another little mini business within my business, call it Smile Makeovers, then great. I have the freedom to do that. But otherwise, you're just cannibalizing yourself.
Yes. Well, and the other part that people miss about this is that the GP business is actually a recurring business model. And that's the holy grail of all business, not just in dental. And everything is, how do we get recurring? Apple moved that way, right? Tesla even had.
Like, why do you think Botox got so big?
Yes. It's all recurring business.
It's needed a way for people to keep coming back. And that's what Botox was.
100%. So everybody wants the recurring business model. Here's the thing that most GPs don't understand. You have it. You have one of the best. It's come get your teeth cleaned every 6 months. Everybody knows that. Everybody know when they call, they feel guilty if it's been 7 months, and and I know it's like, it's not a big deal, right? It's like going over your 3,000 miles on your car with your oil change by 100 miles. Not a big deal, right? And so it's like, but so we have this beautiful recurring business model that the patients love and they want to come back and get it done. And it's very stable. If there's war, there's economic collapse, like all these things, GP doesn't really move. It just kind of just keeps chugging along. Why? Because it has a recurring side of it. The other side, where we're talking about like the Smile Makeovers, all those kind of things, those are very market dependent. I remember in 08 and multiple times after that as well, where I've just seen whole, I remember the last election, not this one that we just had, but the one before that, some of the offices in swing states dropped by like $100,000, $200,000 in 1 month, just because people were scared. And the fear ads, remember, it was like very, very polarized. So you have to understand that you're dealing with two different business models. One is a sales business model and one is a recurring business model, and you got to be very careful how you build those out. So the next episode we'll talk about this. We'll talk about the internal marketing things that you're going to do to be able to build out that, and so you can get the cases that you want, market for the GP, keep everybody happy, and keep growing that. So I'm excited about that. Let's talk about the merger, because I think this is really cool what you did, very creative, and will, I think, cost effective. But you can talk through that.
Yeah. So this is actually, I'll say I purchased a practice in 21, and then this is a merger, and for all intents and purposes, they're very similar. And what I've just learned is like, it depends on the demographic of the person that you're working with. And frankly, if they've been doing dentistry for more than 20 years, then you can almost hang your hat on the fact that this is going to go slower than you expect. And it's one of those deals where, I've spent days or hours where I'm like, man, this could have been done in like a 5-hour conversation and on a weekend. And it's taking months and months and months. And so that's the biggest thing. If you're out there and you're thinking about doing a merger, just know it's probably going to take longer than you think, but also have a game plan of how you're going to execute specifically for a merger. How are you going to execute getting these patients over to your practice? What is the thing that's that's keeping them sticky. And so for me, it was, I've got to bring the doctor over. For me, it was he's got to come over and he's got to stay for X amount of time, and that's a non-negotiable. And frankly, a lot of his compensation is going to be tied somewhat to that, right? And so it's a way to where he's incentivized to keep telling patients, "Hey, this is where we're going to help you. This is where we're going to serve you." He can still be the dentist that serves him, but it's also a way to protect my investment to where I'm sure that I'm not just throwing money at the wind, because now I have a baseline. I know what CAC means. Like, I know how to measure that. And so I sit there and I'm like, oh, well, if we can even convert 50 of his patients at this, then we're going to have a lower CAC than even our marketing.
So for everybody out there, CAC is not a bad word. It's cost to acquire a customer or a cost to acquire a patient. And how you figure that out is you take your marketing budget total and then you divide it by the new patients that are coming just from your marketing, not your patient referrals. You got to remove those. A lot of dentists forget to do that. So they come back and they're like, my CAC's $100. It's like, no, it's not. If you took all of your new patients divided by your marketing, that's not your CAC. So it's just your marketing. And so Dr. Blake started running the numbers because he's seen what his CAC was. And he's like, this might be the play. So I'm really excited to see how this turns out. Now, there was some technical SEO stuff that we talked about. And so we were looking at taking the other dentist's URL and pointing it to your URL. And then we were about to do it, and I pumped the brakes on it and have the team doing some research. This is really important. I haven't told you this yet, so you'll like this. So your URL, you're a young guy, and so your URL is really young. And that hurts SEO. Young, brand new URLs are not the best thing in the world. And some of these people out here in dental, have you ever done a Google search before for a dentist in a market? And this guy pops up with this old website. You can tell no one's done any marketing on it at all, but it just ranks really well. The reason why is because it has URL authority, and he probably bought it like 25 years ago when the internet was invented. And so just that alone carries a lot of weight versus somebody who has a URL that's a year old. And so we were looking at I wanted, before we pointed the URL, I wanted to make sure that we did it in the right way that wasn't going to hurt you if they had negative SEO or they were blacklisted, someone did some black hat SEO stuff. And we wanted to look at their Google reviews as well. So their URL is actually older than yours, has really good SEO juice from what we can tell so far, and they have a lot of Google reviews. And so we figured out, I think, if everything works out right, I think we're going to be able to point the URL, give our URL some major credibility with age, so suck in that age that URL has, and port over some of those Google reviews as well to give a huge shot in the arm. We have to make sure it all works right, but that's what we're looking at doing.
That's huge. Yeah, I'm super excited. I mean, as you know, Google reviews has been something I've been really harping on this year because I've seen the value and how it can hurt you. If we're in a big market, and even though we've got 750 Google reviews, there's offices in our area that have 1,500 Google reviews.
2,000, yeah. I think the biggest one has 2,200, yeah.
Yeah, I'll take the shot in the arm.
I think he has like 500. So I'm hoping that we can port all those over. The other thing, just a little hack for people out there with Google reviews, is you get Google reviews, even if it's just your wife or your friends, put your keywords of what you want in your Google reviews in niche topics. So if you want smile makeovers, put smile makeovers in your Google reviews. And even though smile makeovers is a super niche keyword, most patients don't search that. They just search dentist. But when they do go and search it, the couple that do, you are more likely to pop up for that if you have a bunch of Google reviews mentioning that. So that's a little hack. So
I've got a question on that, Gary. So on my to-do list I've had for a long time, because I remember, I think you did a podcast a while back on liking Google reviews and the importance of that. How would it work if let's say because it's always difficult from a technical standpoint, you provide a service to a patient and then you want to ask for a Google review, but then you're like, oh, and well, can you put what we did? And then it just kind of feels salesy. And so there's some that are just naturally like, I got my Invisalign with Dr. Hamblin and it was great. Are those the ones you want to go like?
So, okay. So the liking is a little bit different. So So in Google and SEO, when your website ranks, there's an algorithm, and we all kind of understand that. I think most people understand that. That shows what is served to you based on where you're located and what you're searching. But when you go and look at the reviews, the Google reviews on any business, there's a separate algorithm that ranks the Google reviews, because what reviews are you going to see first? And most people assume that the Google reviews are ranked by age, right? Like the last Google review is left, that's the one I'm going to see. That's actually not true. They're ranked by relevance, which is a totally different algorithm than anything else that we're used to seeing. And so it's kind of like Facebook. Facebook doesn't serve you just posts that were seen recently. They serve based on what you've been commenting and liking on recently. And so it has a relevance algorithm as well. And so on your Google reviews, what you want to do is you want to figure out what review or reviews, you can have 2 or 3, what reviews do you want people to see? And so you pick a couple, right? You don't want to pick 100 because that's too many, but you want to pick like a handful. And then what you want to do is you want to go in and you want to like those. You personally, you can go do it yourself, and you don't even have to ask your patients. Just go have your team go all do it. Doesn't matter who does it. There's no rules or regulations or anything that's funny that's going to happen. Anybody can like it. So you can just go tell your whole team, you have 20 people, all go like these 5 reviews. And now that those have 20 likes on them, which tells Google these are the most relevant reviews that people like. And those will over time start to show up first. And so that's a more relevant review. And then your bad reviews don't show up first. That's what you're trying to avoid. You don't want your bad reviews to show up first. Sometimes what I've seen happen, and these are the kinds of things that keep me up at night, is like someone has 2,000 Google reviews, all 5 stars, except for that one that someone goes on there and goes, they tried to pay me for a Google review and these are all fake reviews. And then a bunch of people thumbs that up and that shows up first. You literally just undid your 2,000 Google reviews and people see it, and it prevents you from generating more new patients.
Cool. Well, thanks for the clarification there. That's super helpful.
Yes, sir. This is a really good episode.
Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm learning.
Me too. This is good stuff. Thank you so much. And we'll talk next week.
Sweet.
Peace.